welcome back to my Barbie legacy. We are starting this episode with Barbie and Thomas having just gotten married, and for whatever reason, Heath was at their house waiting for them, maybe to say congratulations. They immediately wanted to start having children, so Barbie went to the doctor and confirmed that she should not have any complications or difficulties with that goal. Then, as they were trying to settle into married life, she decided to play with Bronco for a little bit and enjoy his kitten antics. They also went ahead and decided to set up their back patio. They did invite Heath over the next day to talk for a little bit. At this point, I know that they definitely had an attraction at the beginning, but it doesn't seem like Barbie or Heath are trying to pursue anything romantic with each other. Even autonomously, they are keeping it very casual, platonic, and just supportive. She ended up going to visit with Thomas, and I'm sure they're still completely in the honeymoon phase, very head over heels for each other, excited to spend any time they can together. They do still have chores and activities that need to be done, especially if Barbie wants to really establish the home as her domain and responsibility. So it makes sense that while they were talking, she would start cleaning the counters. I envision that they would have been maybe discussing her desire to find a hobby to really spend some time doing. She definitely still cooks a lot and enjoys that, but there's only so much food that they can just keep in the fridge or that she can sell off. He completely supports that goal of hers, and I would think maybe reminded her of how much she enjoyed gathering plants and outdoor items before he moved in, and maybe encouraged her to find a hobby that allows her to spend more time outdoors. He also, I figure, was telling her stories about his day and about before they met. And Barbie has decided that she likes hearing stories, and I believe this might encourage her to try and socialize more in the future to hear stories from more people. Barbie is really starting to get a desire to be maternal and practice her parenting skills. So the neighbor across the street, Tommy, has become her object to practice. She's decided to talk with her, try to entertain her, and befriend this child. It probably doesn't hurt either that by the time Barbie has a baby and they start getting older, maybe Tommy could be a babysitter. She also did figure out a new hobby after talking with Thomas and realizing how much she enjoys spending time outdoors. She has decided to take up gardening, but more specifically flower gardening, so that she can do arrangements and make different flower vase arrangements as well as wreaths. We are just going to ignore the fact that the peeping Tom is in her yard while she's gardening. I don't envision her being very confrontational, and definitely would not want to put herself in a position that could lead to a fight with someone on her property. So she's just going to go about her business and keep planting. Once all the seeds are in the ground and she realized she needed to shift some of the flower beds a little bit, it was time to get them all watered and start them growing. Apparently, our sweet Barbie also has a slightly destructive side, since she decided to destroy an entire Sim City with an earthquake. While she was playing on the computer, Heath popped over to hang out for a little bit. He brought a present for her as a congratulations for getting married. Probably said something to the effect of, "Sorry I couldn't make it. I didn't have this gift ready when I came to visit after, but I wanted to make sure you had this." I heard that you've started getting into gardening, so maybe you can use these." After he was finished hanging out, Barbie went inside to make some dinner, and after eating her meal, she decided she wanted to go ahead and get started on learning how to do flower arranging. It definitely seems like something up her alley between being slightly perfectionistic and liking the outdoors. So it also made sense to me that she would
gave her the update that he had applied for a new job and he got it.
Versus
So just because he won the lottery
so that she can
doesn't
actually
mean
get fresh
he has
air
no purpose.
while she does her work, and it would minimize how much dirt and the potential for bugs being brought into the house with the flowers before they actually get put into the arrangements.
Oh, Heath invited her to join a club, which she ended up deciding to do. She hasn't really shown much of an interest in music yet, but if her best friend wants her in it, why not? She then also went to check out the Finchwick Fair, where she was very excited to see her first purple chicken and start to meet some of the townsfolk.
While she was at the fair, Tommy called and invited her over, so she, of course, headed that way. Once she got there, she did an initial greeting, telling some stories, letting her know all the things that she saw at the fair, about the large cows and llamas, about the purple chickens. Tommy was probably a little disappointed that she didn't get to go, but at least she got to see Miss Barbie before bed. Since she is so adamant on becoming a wonderful parent, Barbie decided to tuck Tommy in before heading back across the street and home for the night. Over at their house, Thomas was playing with Bronco, who it looks as though he has gone ahead and aged up into an actual adult cat and is no longer the teensy-tiny kitten. He spends a lot of his time outdoors, checking out different items, prowling around, and definitely takes advantage of them living right beside a park.
The club decided to have a meeting, and Heath and Barbie were the first ones there. He brought up the idea of them living together because they're such good friends, which, of course, Barbie shot down right away. I'm sure she wouldn't mind living in whatever house he has after winning the lottery, but that's not quite how she envisions her life. She wants the family unit, not family and random friend. But as the other group members arrived, they decided to go ahead and head over to the nightclub in town so that they can hang out with each other in a musical setting and not only listen to music, but also practice playing it. Everyone was really pleased with that idea, and so they headed over. Barbie decided to start talking with everybody while Spring was playing the piano. And she has officially decided that she is outgoing and enjoys meeting people. Once Spring was ready to take a break, Barbie tried her hand at playing piano for the first time. It didn't seem to be something that came naturally to her, but she did enjoy it, and the club leader Heath was very supportive of her attempts. After piano, she tried her hand at singing for a little bit. This was something that she really had a little bit of a natural enjoyment of, and made the decision that she wants to continue singing. She thinks it's the better option for her when it comes to music. Barbie found out she was pregnant and decided to surprise Thomas when he came home with the news. She, surprisingly enough, for wanting to have a huge family, was not excited to be pregnant yet. I think she believed that there was going to be a little bit more time before it happened, but Thomas was very excited, super on board, and can't wait to become a dad. They decided to talk for a little bit about everything. He calmed her
and then let her know that he got a promotion as well, so she doesn't need to be stressing about the additional expense that will come with the baby, that they will have a little bit more money coming in, and that they're going to be just fine. To end the day, she went ahead and got some laundry going. And then, even though it was raining outside a little bit, the next day, she decided she wanted to continue focusing on her flower arranging. I'm beginning to think, too, that maybe flower arrangement will have kind of a mental calming effect, give her something to really focus on, help her clear her mind of any sort of racing thoughts or constant anxieties or fears she may have surrounding, being a new wife, becoming a mom. All these major changes are happening to her very quickly. Once Thomas got home from work, he went out to check on her, see what she's making, checks how she's doing, and they ended up having a conversation about what names they would consider giving a baby boy or a girl. And there will be some consideration given, but I don't anticipate Barbie particularly liking the names that Thomas suggested. For dinner time, Barbie sat on the sofa with Bronco, and as soon as Thomas sat down, that triggered him to be hissy. Spring reached out, asking if Barbie wanted to come hang out. She said yes and went over and met the roommates, Summer and Autumn. She and Summer actually hit it off really well. They decided to chit-chat on the sofa together while watching TV. After a little bit, Spring and Autumn decided to come over and see what they were talking about, check out what was going on the television, and unsurprisingly, Barbie decided to put on the cooking channel in the background while they were all talking so that she could try to pick up some cooking language and maybe some, basic background information, just subconsciously. When she got back home, Thomas greeted her very passionately, and they were talking about how their day went, what they kind of are looking forward to, and they had the idea that, Barbie's had a long day. She's starting to feel really tired with how far in the pregnancy she is. She was grateful that he understood that she didn't want to get into anything super, time consuming or energy consuming. And they agreed that it would be fun maybe just to curl up on the bed together and read a book to the baby. After Barbie fell asleep, Thomas went outside and decided to cook up some food on the grill. He has definitely fallen a bit into that stereotypical dad manages the grill, that's his domain type of role. But he seems to be pretty good at it, and if he cleans up after himself, then all the better, him being considerate of her. The nursery was the next thing they decided to tackle. That way it would be ready for the baby to be brought home. They didn't go with any particular theme. They just wanted it to be kind of light, simple, and have all of the necessities involved. Later on, while Bronco was happily sleeping across the sofa, it was time for Barbie to go to the hospital and be ready to have the baby. Thomas was there with her initially. They definitely were engaging in fun banter. He was trying to keep her mind off of her anxieties and fears surrounding the birth, everything that could happen, and whether or not it was going to hurt a lot. But they have a joking dynamic, which makes it a lot easier for him to keep her in a happy headspace. For a little while, he just stood by and helped support her, but eventually he did need to go to work, so she took her spot on one of the beds and slept for a while, hoping to wake up closer to delivery time. Upon waking up, she was really hungry,
So she went to the hospital cafeteria and got herself some food to eat. Then she followed up with one of the doctors and went ahead and got an epidural. Once that was done, she decided to get into some comfy clothes and work on her breathing exercises to try and continue working through the pain until the epidural kicked in. Once she was feeling better, she did decide to go ahead and take a walk around the hospital. The point of view, other than having her eyelashes constantly there, really gives better perspective to what she is experiencing and how stark and clinical the entire place feels. I could easily see her deciding in future to try and have her babies at home rather than coming to the hospital and spending time away from her husband, away from her cat, away from everything warm, cozy, and comfortable that she knows. And finally, it was time for the delivery. The doctor helped her. It was very uneventful. And after just a little bit of pushing, Barbie delivered her first baby, a little boy she decided to name Rowan. Once she got home, immediately Thomas went to check out his new son and was absolutely in love, very, very proud of his wife, and happy to see his new baby. I think I'm going to let Thomas just autonomously determine how involved he is with the child rearing versus not. And it's going to be a lot for me just to focus on Barbie and the kids to make sure that her goals are met. So I'm excited and a little bit curious to see how hands-on he turns out to be over the years.
But that is where we're going to end this episode for Barbie, with her having gone from being a newlywed to having just delivered her first child. I'm not sure at this moment how quickly I'm going to try and push for them to go ahead and have their second child. Let me know in the comments if you have any opinion, whether that should be something that I'm proactively trying to make occur, or if we just kind of let them, live their lives, see how much they autonomously want to woohoo, and see how quickly they would just on their own end up with the second baby. They did have their first one very quickly while they are still early on in their young adulthood, so we should have enough time not to have them back to back to back. But let me know, and I hope you enjoyed this episode. Can't wait to see you in the next one.